Hey there everybody, it's Cosmo here, and it's time for another Humble Bundle review. You forgot what I was going to say then. I know what I was trying to say, I was about to say the title. So this week we're looking at the Humble Indie Bundle 17, which is, again, a really amazing number to think there's been 17 Humble Indie Bundles. Now, I'm a big fan of Humble Indie Bundles, but I'll get to that in a minute. For now, let's go and take a good look at what is actually in the bundle this week, shall we? And that didn't work. I'll actually click that white button this time. There we go. This is off to a great start. Okay, pay what you want for 3 games. Don't let the blue thing confuse you. First up, we have a game called Lethal League, which it sounds quite interesting, I suppose. Quite sort of dangerous. If this video overloads, you might have to see it. It's £9.99 on Steam. It's a 2D local multiplayer fighting game where you fight each other but using a ball as a projectile to actually sort of beat your enemy. And apparently I can save 14.1 gigabytes of disk space. Anyway, basically you fight your enemy with a ball, and it's sort of a typical sort of fighting game, but a bit more sort of, well, a bit more sort of a variation on it. Different characters to play, sort of unlock and everything. A single player sort of mode, as well as local multiplayer mode. It can play up to 4 different players. It's got some exceptionally good reviews on Steam. It's 93% recently, 96 overall, and 82% on Metacritic. So it's a pretty nifty looking game. And if I was into fighting games more, maybe I'd actually check it out. But, you know, it is what it is. Next is The Beginner's Guide. Now, if you've heard of the Stanley Parable, which you should have done, because it's an awesomely funny and clever game, then this is made by the same guy who made this. The Beginner's Guide is basically a narrative video game where you basically play for about an hour and a half, and it has no real sort of traditional mechanics. It's got no sort of goals or objectives. Instead, it tells the story of a person who is struggling to deal with something they just do not understand, and that is literally the sort of, as you can see it in the blurb, that's literally all I can really say about the game, because that's all that's actually written in terms of what the game is about. It's $6.99 on Steam. It's actually on my wish list because I love the Stanley Parable. Good reviews, 88 recent, 86 overall. I'm getting my numbers backwards. But in general, it looks like a good game. Quite an odd, strange sort of game, but then you should expect that from someone who made a Stanley Parable. Last in the white tier then is a game called Galak-z, which is basically a sort of a 2D arcade space shooter with sort of roguelike elements. It's £6.99 on Steam. Basically, you it sort of takes the traditional sort of space shooter and modifies it slightly, where you pilot a spaceship that can transform into a robot, and you sort of have to attack your enemies by learning the different patterns, learning their weaknesses, learning how to sort of utilize your ship in the sort of proper way. So it's not just a sort of I was about to say run and gun, but that doesn't sort of work. It's sort of, you know, constant blast them up and everything. There's sort of a tactical sort of system in place where you have to sort of concentrate and learn how to use your ship effectively. Review wise, it's not too bad. 77% overall, 78% on Metacritic. The reviews are quite low in certain places because a lot of people think that the game doesn't contain a lot of content. Now, this has been recently changed due to recent DLC, which is free, I believe, and you get as part of the actual game, and it's called The Void. So it has a sort of added more content and everything like that. But generally speaking, it's not too bad. The game is quite well received. If memory serves, it was actually one of the Humble monthly bundles a few months ago. So although I already own it, it does look quite clever, quite cool. And there's some actual gameplay there. Sort of, you have to sort of learn to get behind your ships or use different weapon mechanics to get rid of enemies. There are sort of things like daily challenges and other stuff like that. So it's sort of very an expansive sort of game, and there's sort of a leaderboard as well, which it kind of constantly, there you go, leaderboards. To be the man, you got to beat the man. Right, beat the average. So pay more than the average price of whatever it's saying right now, which is £5.09, which is about £3.95 for us UK people. And you get 3 further games. First up is a game that looks quite awesome to me. I actually might put this on the list of games to play, my games to try. Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time is $10.99 on Steam. It's quite similar to, if you've heard of it, FTL, where basically you explore a colourful galaxy in a massive sort of neon battleship that you can control either as a single player or through cooperative play. You basically sort of you cooperate and you control the different sort of aspects of the ships, like the thrusters, the shields, the lasers, the turrets, all kinds of things like that. And only through the teamwork of all your little sort of space astronaut people, oh dear, can you triumph over the forces of, what is it, of anti-love, rescue kidnapped space monies, and avoid a vacuumy demise. Oh dear, I just need to lay off the vodka. Basically, you fly around space and you shoot nasty monsters and everything with the sort of weird and crazy sort of looking spaceship that you see in the trailer. Review-wise, it's, well, let me put it this way. Right now on Steam, it's got 100% recently. So, you know, overall in the last 30 days, 100% of the people that have reviewed the game have reviewed it well. Let's put it that way. 96 overall. It's got 80% on Metacritic. Definitely want to check out if you're into sort of space simulation-esque games. Looks good, definitely to me. Octodad, the Dadliest catch, is a game that is one of those sort of physics comedy games where you basically control Octodad. It's $11.99 on Steam, so it's quite expensive. It's actually probably one of the most expensive games there is in this bundle in terms of, you know, if you're looking outside of the bundle. You literally control this octopus that you have to basically sort of manipulate around the sort of physics-based environment, trying desperately not to draw too much attention to yourself so people don't realize that you're not actually a human being. You have to sort of complete tasks and missions whilst sort of pretending to be a total human being. It's completely wacko jacko in terms of what sort of the game is, and that's actually one of the best sort of points about the game, is that it's crazy and it's silly, but it's also quite good fun. You know, it's definitely a game to check out. You'll have a lot of fun with it. Review wise, it's 93% recently and overall, which is pretty exceptional considering. It's 69% on Metacritic, so I definitely would recommend checking that out. Next up is a game that, to be honest, I struggle to say without it sounding like it should be in a badly translated manga cartoon. It's Super Time Force Ultra. Super Time Force Ultra is $10.99 on Steam. It's basically a pixel graphics 2D shooter, which unfortunately the video has frozen for some reason, where basically you kill lots of things and have control over time. So you can go back, so should you get stuck or die, you can go back in time and actually fight along your past selves. It's quite a clever little game. I love a good sort of pixel shooter-esque, the pixel shooter sort of look and feel. It sort of reminds me a great deal about games like Metal Slug and what was it, Gunstar Heroes. Apparently you travel to different sort of time periods and locations. It's, well, if we actually get to any gameplay in this, maybe I'll skip ahead a bit. So gameplay, there you go. It looks quite awesome, let's put it that way. And it is actually on my list of games to try, because I actually do own that one too. Now, unlike last week's bundle, there are more games coming in this bundle, so there'll be something to look at next week. You do also get 2 of the soundtracks with the actual bundle. You get the Beginner's Guide soundtrack and Octodad. You sadly don't get Super Time Force Ultra's soundtrack. From what I understand of it, it is actually quite a good soundtrack. But overall, that's pretty good. Yeah. Finally then, the blue tier. as a game that has also recently been in a humble monthly bundle, is Nuclear Throne. It's $8.99 on Steam. It's basically a post-apocalyptic sort of roguelike game. Sorry, roguelike top-down shooter, as you can see here and there. Very similar to sort of looks a lot like Enter the Gungeon, if you've seen that. It basically involves it's sort of set when after the apocalypse, mankind's been wiped out, and instead of playing as a human being, you play as a monster, and you have to sort of continually survive waves of monsters, utilizing a variety of different weapons which you can craft and build and generate, and collecting various radioactive things to sort of mutate your monster to level up, to improve his abilities, and so on and so forth. But it has the element of permadeath. In other words, should you die, then that's it. You've lost that monster, you lost that creation, you have to start all over again. It's well, it's got some quite good reviews. It's 90% overall. Oh no, sorry, 94% recently, 96 overall. I'm reading Super Time Forces. 94% recently, 96 overall, 88% Metacritic. Is one of the highest sort of ranking overall, apart from maybe sort of Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time. Definitely one if you enjoy the nice sort of pixel art look and feel to the game. And like I said, it has been on my list of games to try for a while, but I haven't got around to playing it yet. So here's hoping. Now, as I said, there is no extension to survive this bundle. I did forget to mention that in the video, but I did write that in my blog, which I now put these reviews up on there and any other sort of important bits and pieces that I'm thinking about. But I'm a bit behind actually. I've got to write the actual Spec Ops review, and I keep sort of half writing it and not finishing it. But overall, that is it at the moment for this review. So, as always, oh, there's me again. Thank you guys very much for watching. Like and subscribe for more review videos and any other gameplay videos that I even bother to make. By all means, comment, and I will always respond to any important comments. Any comments that I deem important enough. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching. I'm now going to go and record a channel update video, which will probably come out sometime after this video. But as always, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you when I see you.